I have a book cart. I'm a librarian now. Hey there, welcome to the Millennial Book Junkie. My name is Monique, and today I'm going to be sharing with you all of the books that I got on my 40th birthday. Because on my 40th birthday, I had a wonderful time spending 2 hours in a Barnes & Noble. I had a glorious book haul, which was about 7 books. And then when I came home, my husband gifted me with this beautiful TBR cart, something that I've always wanted but never really thought we had the space for. And I was so excited to walk in and just see it and fill it with all the books that I want to read, all the books on my shelf that I have yet to read. And now I can see them all in one place, because before they were just kind of buried in my bookshelf. So now they're all in front of me. It's very clear to me what I need to read and what has already been read. And I am so excited to finally have my very own TBR cart. It is fabulous. My husband knows me so well. So because I spent 2 glorious hours in Barnes & Noble, I basically spent all my time in the thriller section and piled on the books that I really have been wanting to buy but have never had a chance to. And so I walked out of that store with 7 books, and I'm going to tell you which ones I bought. Excuse me while I bring over the new cart so I can see the books that I need to read. Sometimes I roll it over to me while I read, and just seeing it by me makes me so happy. The first book I bought was Pet Sematary by Stephen King. I am reading this book this month in September, almost done with it. It is taking me forever to read, but it is a classic. I really wanted to read this book because I'm doing research for my own novel, and this one, I really wanted to see what he did with this story. And so I did get it on audio on Libby, but I also wanted the physical copy because Stephen King's writing can be so literary and poetic sometimes, and I really needed to sit with it and underline my favorite passages, which I have been doing. So Pet Sematary is a classic. I'm sure you've heard of it, but if you haven't, it's about this family who moves to Maine, and let's just say weird stuff starts happening. Weird, dark stuff starts happening. Things start, shall we say, emerging from places that they shouldn't. I don't want to give any spoilers, but basically this is a creepy book, and you should definitely pick it up if you haven't yet. I'm almost done with it and I'm really enjoying it. It is kind of a slow burn, I will say. People who are interested in fast-paced thrillers will hate this book, but I am really liking it because I can sometimes be a very slow reader, kind of cherishing each line type of thing. So this was one of the first books that I bought on my book haul. The next book I bought was The Whisper Man by Alex North. I have been really wanting to buy more of Alex North ever since I read The Man Made of Smoke, which I absolutely loved. He was like my first, well, that book was my first one that I've ever read by Alex North, and I've heard this one is really good too. This one is about a man who lost his wife, and so he moves him and his son to a new town, thinking they're gonna have a fresh start. And in this town, 20 years ago, there was this serial killer named the Whisper Man who would knock on the window at night and whisper to you, and then you would be dead. So he moves to this place where 20 years ago that serial killer existed, and now that serial killer is gone, but unfortunately, people are being murdered again in that very same way. So did the Whisper Man really die, or did he not? So this one sounds very good. If it's anything like The Man Made of Smoke, I'm really excited to dig into it. The next book I bought was by Miss Karen Slaughter, who is just an icon in the thriller world. And I have only read Pretty Girls by her. And I wanted to read some of her standalones because I know she has series, which I'm going to dive into at some point. But for right now, I really just wanted to pick up one of her standalones. I've been craving her writing ever since I finished Pretty Girls. So I picked up False Witness. This is about a woman who is a defense attorney, and she ends up having to defend someone who raped someone. So not only that, but she also has kind of a dark past, and somehow the dark past is going to intertwine with this case that she's doing, where she's defending this guy who raped someone. So I'm really curious to see how all this plays out. I know that Karen Slaughter can be very dark, and I am just so here for it, and I cannot wait. Every time I see this book, I just get very excited, and I cannot wait to read it. This next book will be a book that a lot of people recognize, The Reformatory by Tananarive Due. This one has been on my TBR. I went to the Culver City Book Festival a while back, and there was a guy on an author panel who kept talking about how much he loved this book, and I have heard nothing but good things. This book is about a young boy who is living in Florida in the 1950s, and he kicks the child, son or daughter of a wealthy landowner, and his punishment is he has to go to this school for boys. And this school is definitely not what it is cracked up to be. This school has done terrible things to young men, and also our main character, I believe his name is Robbie Stevens, has a talent for seeing ghosts. So he is kind of understanding what is going on at this school through these ghosts, and I'm really, really excited for this. Apparently this is like horror historical fiction, and I cannot tell you how, I just can't wait to dive into this. Also, it's really thick. So I just really love thick books. So I cannot wait. I'm hoping to read this one before the end of the year. The next book I bought was Death in the Family by Tessa Wiegert, and she has a series of novels. I believe they're called the Shanna Merchant novels, and this is the first one in that series. And I have seen this book on Bookstagram a lot, along with like some of her other books, and I have really been wanting to pick it up. So this is about a New York police detective named Shanna Merchant who was abducted by a serial killer and barely survives. So she moves on from that, she finds a new job, but then she gets called to investigate a case where she's on this like private island. There's a bunch of people there, and there's like someone died, I guess, because the bed is like soaked with blood, but they're also trapped on this island because there's a big storm. So this seems like something that I should probably read this winter because the cover is giving me cold, creepy, and it sounds like it's going to be cold in the book. So I'm just really excited. I can't wait for this one too. Oh my gosh, this next one, Carter Wilson. Oh, The Dead Girl in 2A. I just love Carter Wilson's books. They're so thick. So this one is about a man and a woman who meet on a plane. They're traveling to Colorado, and apparently they feel like this strong connection, like they know each other, but they can't figure out where they know each other from. And then the woman admits to him on the flight that she's going to Colorado to kill herself. And then when they land, she disappears in the airport. And so the guy is like, where did she go? And then so this story basically tells what happens after they get off the plane. And there's like apparently some dark manipulative figure that had brought them together. And basically it sounds like he's gonna be trying to find her and also trying to escape whoever this person was that brought them together. So if it's anything like Tell Me What You Did, which I really, really loved, I'm really excited. I haven't read any other Carter Wilson other than Tell Me What You Did, but I really liked that one, so I'm really excited to dig into this one too. And the last book that I bought on my 40th birthday book haul was Our Last Resort by Clemence Michelin. I cannot wait to read this one. She wrote The Quiet Tenant. That was her debut novel, so this is her second novel. It just came out in July. This is one I actually plan to read this month. Who knows if it'll happen? I'm a really slow reader, and Pet Sematary is taking me forever, but I hope that I will get around to reading this one this month too. It is on my TBR. But this one is about a woman who has kind of like maybe a cultish upbringing with her brother. Somehow they escape, and then they end up like reuniting at this like resort. And at this resort, apparently someone dies, and then people are blaming our main character's brother for it. And then she has to kind of decide like if her brother is having, you know, these cult tendencies from their past, or if he's actually just innocent. So if it's anything like The Quiet Tenant, I'm sure it'll be good. I've heard mixed things about this one, but I'm going into it feeling really good just because I really liked The Quiet Tenant and I have high hopes. So this is the final book from my book haul. And so that's it. Those were the books I bought. I don't know when I'm gonna read all of them. I'm hoping to read all of them before the end of the year, but we all know how that works out because I have a lot of other books to read. So who knows if I'll get to all of those. But when I tell you, it was so much fun just sitting down. I was sitting down in the thriller section of Barnes & Noble, and it was a big thriller section where I was at. And I was just like scooting my little butt through the aisle, like, oh, I would look at a row and then I would stand up and look at all the ones, and then I would like sit back down and scoot over and then look at all the ones. Like I just literally looked at all the thrillers. And then I was ready to go and I realized that I didn't even look at the horror section. And so then I just gave the horror section a brief look, and that's where I actually found Pet Sematary. But I could have spent a whole other hour in the horror section, and I wish that I had, but that'll be for another day. So let me know if you've read these books. Let me know if you plan to read these books. And that's pretty much it for this birthday book haul. And if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.